All right, let's get right into it. If you've ever tried building an AI agent, you know the dream is huge, right? But the reality? Well, it's often a complete massive infrastructure. Today, we're going to break down how xAI's new Grok beta deploy tools are looking to completely change the game, making it way easier to launch powerful agents and, yeah, in some cases, for free.
So let's just start with the biggest question, the elephant in the room. Why is this so ridiculously hard? The idea seems simple enough, give an AI a goal, give it some tools, and just let it go. But if you're a developer, if you're a founder, you know the real nightmare isn't the AI logic. It's everything else.
And this slide just nails it, doesn't it? This is the core problem. On the left, you've got the old way. Total API chaos. It's a web of different services for search, for code, you name it. You're juggling a handful of API keys, trying to keep servers online, and just hoping your bill doesn't explode. But then you look to the right, at the Grok way, a single, clean API where all that messy infrastructure is handled for you. So let's really unpack this. The AI agent problem, at its heart, isn't about not having smart enough models. We've got plenty of those. The real issue is the overwhelming complexity of the plumbing. It's all that back-end grunt work that you have to do just to make these things useful in the real world. And here's the painful truth. Your most precious resource, your team's actual brain power, just gets torched on the boring stuff. You're fighting with rate limits, you're debugging servers, you're managing 5 different accounts. Instead of focusing on the cool part, the fun part, the part that actually makes you money, the agent's intelligence.
And that, right there, brings us to xAI's answer to all this madness. They're positioning their new tools not just as another option, but as a totally different way of thinking about how we build and launch these agents.
The heart of it all is the Grok Agent Tools API. Now, the magic words on this slide, the ones you really need to hear, are server-side toolkit. What does that mean? It means you don't need to go get your own Google Search API key. You don't have to spin up a server to run some Python code. xAI bundles it all up and manages it for you. You just make one call. That's it.
And would you look at the speed they're moving at? I mean, they went from a chatbot just inside X in late 2023 to a full-on multi-agent system just a couple of years later. This crazy pace is a huge part of their strategy. It builds confidence that this isn't some side project. It's an ecosystem that's growing and growing fast.
Okay, so what's actually in this toolkit? What do you get? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the specific powers that xAI is handing over to developers. First up, the absolute basic, the one you can't live without, web search. Your agent needs to know what's happening right now. But the key here is that last phrase without you needing a separate search API key. Boom, just like that, one massive headache, one extra bill is just gone. Next up, Python execution. And this is a huge one. This means your agent can do real work, run complex math, analyze data, connect to other services, whatever you can code. And again, the magic is that it's totally serverless from your point of view. No Docker containers, no VMs, no hassle. Then we have file retrieval. This is basically RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation, built right in. You can feed your agent your own private documents, your company's knowledge base, and it can search that data to find answers. And that little detail about citations, absolutely crucial. It means you can always trust and verify where the information is coming from. And now, this is Grok's secret weapon, their ace in the hole, X Search. Because they're part of the same family, Grok has a direct pipeline into the real-time fire hose of data on X. We're talking about an average of 68 million English tweets a day. No other AI model has this native access. It's a massive competitive advantage, a moat that's almost impossible for anyone else to build.
So let's make this tangible. This table connects those tools to real business use cases. You're in e-commerce? Use web search to keep an eye on your competitors' prices. You're in fintech? Use Python execution to automate a painful Stripe reconciliation. You run a SaaS company? File retrieval can power your knowledge-based chatbot. And for risk management, AIX Search gives you an immediate pulse on how people feel about your brand. So the tools are obviously powerful, but there are 2 other things that make Grok's whole offer really, really compelling. First, their super aggressive pricing. And second, their leap into the future with multi-agent systems. Let's start with the cost. Look at this number. 20 cents
That's the price for 1 million input tokens for their fast model. That is just incredibly cheap. It's so low, it's clear their strategy is to get as many developers on board as humanly possible. And they've made it super easy to get started without even opening your wallet. They had that launch promo where everything was free for 2 weeks. They have a partnership with LiveKit that has a free tier for voice agents. And there's an open source command line tool so you can get started with zero setup cost. They are literally removing every single barrier they can think of.
But look, Grok isn't just trying to be cheaper or easier. It's also pushing the envelope on what these agents can even do. And this is where things get really futuristic. The word on the street in the AI world is that the next big breakthrough won't be one giant all-knowing AI. It's going to be teams of smaller, specialized AIs working together. And XAI is shipping that concept as a real product right now.
So, inside the Grok 4.20 beta, when you give it a hard problem, it doesn't just work on it alone. It spins up this team. You've got Captain Grok acting as the project manager, figuring out the plan. Harper is the researcher who hits the web. Benjamin is the code and logic whiz. And Lucas is the creative writer who puts it all together beautifully at the end. They all work at the same time to get you a better answer faster. And don't think this is just some cool party trick. This multi-agent system gets real results. In a livestock trading competition, Grok 4.20 beta was the only AI model to actually make money. That's proof that this collaborative approach can crush complex tasks in the real world. So, let's bring it all home. Let's tie this all together and think about what it really means for you, the person who actually wants to go out and build something amazing with this tech. Here's the final showdown. With Grok, you get a bundled all-in-one toolkit where they handle the servers. With competitors like OpenAI or Claude, you're still on your own, wiring everything together and managing the infrastructure. And, of course, only Grok has that killer feature, real-time social data from X baked right in. So what's the bottom line for you? It's simple. First, less friction. You can get your idea out the door way faster. Second, you get access to completely unique data, which means you can build things nobody else can. And third, you get a head start on building with the next big thing in AI, collaborative multi-agent systems. Which leaves us with one final big question to chew on. Think about how cloud computing basically made it obsolete for most companies to run their own physical servers. Are these bundled server-side toolkits like Grok's about to do the exact same thing for building AI agents? It really makes you think, doesn't it?